Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our Lawn Feed YouTube channel. If you're catching us on the podcast, just want to give you guys a shout out and thank you for listening, and hope everyone's day is going fantastic. Want to dive into this episode and just take a minute to subscribe to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our podcast, click that bell so you never miss a beat with what's happening in the Lawn Feed and in our channels. Also, if you haven't already, follow us on all of our channels with Instagram, TikTok, and most importantly, the Lawn Feed is all about promoting the people within the community. So don't forget to tag the Lawn Feed or hashtag the Lawn Feed in your posts that you do share on your personal channels, and we'll be happy to share those within ours YouTube episodes included with that. So be sure to go and do that. So today is a really exciting episode because we can feel spring coming in the air. There's a lot to be talked about with inside of our channel. We're going to be talking about spring fertilizers, and there's a ton to cover, so we're going to dive right into it. Vince, take it away with why we would apply spring fertilizers and fertilizers in general.
Yeah, so why should we apply a fertilizer at all to our lawn? Why should we spend the money to do anything? So turf grass basically requires a bunch of different nutrients in order to grow, in order to thicken up, to remain green. We all want a green lawn. And also it helps to outcompete these other weeds or invasive weeds or grasses. So often the issue is the soils don't have enough nutrients to naturally feed the lawn. The lawn is compiled of different nutrients and stuff, but it's just not enough for the roots in the grass to take hold. So we use some organic fertilizers, we use some synthetic fertilizers, and they're chock full of different nutrients to help replace and to feed the lawn. So we use synthetic or organic fertilizers to give the turf what it needs. The best way to know what kind of fertilizer your lawn needs, you'll want to first get a soil test. So for more information on this, we did an episode last week, so hop back over there and take a look at it. That way you can figure out how to do a soil test. And then once you listen to that, come on back and check this out. So what nutrients does my turf need? We're going to dive through just a crash course of all the main nutrients, your micronutrients, your micronutrients that's on a bag or bottle, and what each of those nutrients does for your turf. So if you have a notebook, go ahead and grab it, write some stuff down. I don't have this memorized. I keep a nice little handy template for this, but here we go. So your NPK, your potassium, or your nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, that's your NPK, your calcium, your magnesium, and your sulfur. Those are all your macronutrients. So nitrogen affects your root and shoot, right? Your root growth, your shoot growth, the density, the color, some disease resistance, and stress tolerance. Your phosphorus, it affects the rate of seeding development, the maturation, and also root growth, rooted long co, root growth. Potassium, right? It's important for your nutrients to maintain good turgor pressure in plants. Also affects for drought tolerance, some disease resistance. It's good stuff, right? Calcium, important for cell division and membrane function. We're going to get pretty technical on some of these. Just bear with me. Our blog's going to have a lot more on it too for more in depth. So a low calcium is poor root and shoot growth. Okay. Magnesium, it's an important component of chlorophyll, or the stuff that's inside of the plant that transforms sunlight into food or energy, and we call that photosynthesis. We learned that in 5th grade. Chlorophyll is the pigment that causes the grass to actually green up. So a low magnesium can result in yellowing or chlorosis. So you're going to hear the word chlorosis a little bit here soon. Sulfur also can result in a low sulfur, can result in a low sulfur can result in chlorosis as well, that yellowing. But also we use sulfur to lower our pH. Micronutrients. Let's get it. Iron. We all love iron because iron makes our grass green. So it's important for chlorophyll formation, the thing that makes your lawn green, right? And also for nitrogen metabolism. And what do you think will happen if you have a deficiency in iron? Chlorosis, right? That yellowing of the leaves, especially in younger leaves of your grass. Manganese, it's present in the chloroplast membranes. So there's two membranes in your turf grass. You have an outer, which is permeable, and you have an inner, which is, you have two membranes. You have an outer, which is permeable for small organic molecules, and an inner that is less permeable. So manganese actually functions as an enzyme activator. So it helps stuff go in and go out of the plant. And it also gives some resistance to diseases, right? So that's all I'm going to go into. I feel like that's a lot just to even talk about for me. So go back to our blog, check it out. But yeah, it's a good amount of information, but good stuff that you should try and remember.
Dang, man. Yeah, no, that's obviously a lot. And there's going to be a pop quiz for everybody afterwards. So hopefully you guys are paying attention. And seriously, what Vince said is super helpful information. And by all means, we're going to have all of that for you guys inside of our blog. So certainly go to thelawnfeed.com and check that out in our blog. Andrew, there's obviously a lot more to fertilizers than what, believe it or not, than what Vince just told us. Why don't you go in a little bit more in depth and tell us a little bit more about fertilizers?
I'm sorry, my head's still spinning, and honestly, the only thing I took out of that is the fact that I didn't hear a chlorophyll borophyll joke. I heard that word too many times. Anyways, here, what am I supposed to talk about? Anyways, so you get a soil test. You know exactly what nutrients your lawn needs, what macros and what micros. Now it's time to choose your fertilizers for the season. You want to go with what best fits your budget and what your lawn needs. You just don't want to throw down whatever you find in the store first. You don't want to be that guy that grabs a bag off the shelf after 2 seconds, slings it over your shoulder, and walks out, unless you did your homework first, okay? Some options for fertilizers that you can buy. So I'm going to focus on the granular. There's granular, and there's liquid. So granular fertilizers can be good because they can come in the slow release option, which is good for DIYers. If you're not familiar with really using fertilizer on your lawn, you can burn your lawn if you put down fertilizer at a high rate and you don't know what you're doing. So a slow release fertilizer is super safe in that aspect. You can look on the bag and it'll say if it's slow release or how much percentage is slow release. Granular comes in different granule sizes, aka SGN, which is size guide number. The higher the SGN, the larger the granule is. And this is important because a small granule will give you better distribution of nutrients across your lawn. And if you want to do an application at a half rate, it's a lot easier to do if you're using a smaller, lower number SGN. And furthermore, if you low cut your turf, you will want to use a granule that is at least fairway grade, which is SGN around 150. And that way the lawnmower doesn't pick up and damage it, and it can avoid speckling, which is a result of larger granules being spaced out too far apart. You're just not getting a good even spread. So the coverage that is advertised on the bag, it's going to be right on the front. It's going to tell you how many square feet that bag can cover, and you can adjust how much you need. If you don't want to put down as much nitrogen as the bag recommends, you can do it at a lower rate. You can use some online calculators like the Yard Mastery Fert calculator. That's really, really great. We'll put some links in our blog as well. So the big box stores fertilizers that you can get are Scott's, that's a household name. Lesco, you can get Lesco at Lowe's, Site One stores, it's very popular. And ProPete, you can also get at some big box stores. All great products. And online, you can obviously get a huge selection. Winfield United Pro also has the ProPete available, and you can buy either like a 4-pack or 6-pack and kind of mix and match and buy it in bulk, ship it right to your door. It's pretty cool. Some of the DIYers really like the Hybrix fertilizer, which is organic. There's Protein, which is distributed by GCI on their website. Yard Mastery has a great selection, and Claris Pro Screaming Green is an organic option as well. Find what fits your budget and what your lawn needs. Just don't throw down what everyone else is. Do a soil test, do your homework, find out what you need, and go buy that.
We've all been the guy with the big bag just walking out too, right? And everybody's been there. Just stare at a wall of
Right.
stuff and walk out. So, no, thanks, Andrew. That's good. And I think it's time to wash some of that down with some liquid fertilizers, right?
Yeah.
So liquid fertilizers get fun. I had the pleasure of experimenting a little bit last year with just a purely liquid program. It has its pros and cons for sure. They're great for quick response for your turf. They enable very, very fast. And they can solely be used as a liquid like I did last year. But from a hybrid approach, and in addition, in like complementing what Andrew was just talking about on the granular side, most of the times for most people, that's generally going to be best. Use a liquid in between granular applications is probably the most common. They're also used in like a spoon feeding application in that method, which we won't get too much past at this point, but the way that these can be applied is a little bit different than a granular. Obviously, they're different products, but you can do a hose end sprayer, which literally hooks up to your hose out of a bottle and you spray it out. That's probably the easiest to do. And then you can also do it in like a hand pump that you can see at any of the big box stores, a backpack sprayer. And if you've got a little bit of a bigger yard or have some more coverage, a boom sprayer that hooks up to a piece of equipment, tow behind, those types of things. And I think the one thing that at least I've noticed, you guys will probably agree, is if you go with any of like the backpack or like the hose or anything like that, more specifically with the backpack, there's a hand pump manual one and then there's the backpack battery powered one. Both will give a much different experience. Make sure that you take a little bit of a hike into an investment and get that battery powered one just to make sure your coverage is super even. I've seen personally just a lot of inconsistencies with that manual hand pump backpack sprayer. So that's really, really important. Like Andrew was talking about, if you put too much down in one particular spot, you do get into some trouble in the weeds a little bit. And it could be too much of a good thing, but generally speaking, those two combined are really, really powerful and will do a lot of good for you. Vince, you have a lot of experience with liquids. So, what are some brands that in the community that you've maybe used personally? Let's hear it from you.
Yeah, I think what's the slogan? Dump the pump. They don't want you pumping the pump anymore. So anyway, yeah. So some liquid fertilizers, Simple Lawn Solutions. If you're in the Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, you've heard of Simple Lawn Solutions. They have hose and sprayers. Awesome company, very involved with the DIYers in the community. Awesome products too. Green County Fertilizer, they also are geared to the DIYers. They have a whole product line. Winfield Pro, as we mentioned about their Pro Pete deals, they have a whole selection of liquids. Lawn Supply, which is Ryan Knorr and Matt Martin's company, they have a water-soluble. So it's a powdery mix that you dump into water and mix it up, and that's going to be your liquid. So they have that line. They do have some other liquids as well. So those are your kind of your main liquids that you'll see on the DIY community.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, good stuff, you guys. I think that, this will pretty much wrap up this episode and we'll kind of close her down. It's obviously a lot to take in and absorb. So be sure to check out our blog. Be sure to check out all of our channels. Definitely subscribe and share this with with anybody that you would maybe find this useful as well. But we want to hear from you. Drop a comment in the box down below of what fertilizers you like to use and what you've seen from your experience, and maybe if it's different this year, what you're planning on using. We'd love to hear that, and we'll certainly engage back with you if you have any questions or anything like that. Happy to go into that. So, like I said, be sure to subscribe, follow us on TikTok, Instagram, all of the different channels, and all of us individually to stay in tune with what we're doing. We will see you for the next episode. Y'all be good, and we will see you soon. Bye-bye.
See you, everybody.